The United States just lost a $320 billion market, and China is laughing all the way to the bank. The world's biggest tech war just escalated, and this time, it's not just about politics, it's about survival. Semiconductors are the backbone of modern life. Your smartphone, your car, even your fridge, and now, China is cutting off the US. Slashing its American chip imports and racing to build its own semiconductor empire. But here's the real kicker. This isn't just about chips, this is about power. The kind that determines the future of AI, the military, and the global economy. The stakes? Everything. So how did we get here? And more importantly, who's going to win? Stick around because the answer might just shock you, or at the very least make you reconsider your next phone upgrade. Quick sound effect, record scratch, then transition to calm, serious tone. Let's rewind a bit. You see, back in 2022, the US decided to put a chokehold on China's semiconductor industry. No high-end AI chips, no advanced manufacturing equipment, no mercy. The goal? To cripple China's tech ambitions and keep them from getting their hands on the technology that powers everything from AI supercomputers to military drones. And at first it worked. Chinese tech giants, Huawei, Alibaba, and Xiaomi, were scrambling. No more NVIDIA AI chips, no more cutting-edge processors. Their entire industry was on the verge of collapse. For a moment it seemed like checkmate. But here's the thing about China, they don't like to lose. Instead of folding, they fought back. And not just with words, with $320 billion in cold hard cash. Suspenseful pause. That's how much China just slashed from its US chip imports. That's how much they're now investing into building their own semiconductor empire. And it's already working. Beat. Then, excited tone. Enter Huawei. The company the US tried to obliterate just dropped a bombshell. The Mate 60 Pro, a smartphone running on a 7nm chip, despite every US sanction meant to stop them. How? Well, let's just say China has been busy. Quick pattern interrupt, cheerful tone. It's kind of like telling your kid they can't have any more cookies, and the next day, they open their own bakery. Serious tone resumes. They've poured billions into their semiconductor sector. They've built domestic alternatives to American giants, and they're finding creative ways to circumvent US sanctions. Remember ASML, the Dutch company that makes the machines required to print the most advanced chips? The US thought blocking them would be a checkmate move. Well, turns out, China has been stockpiling ASML machines for years. They saw this coming. Beat, then an ominous tone. And now, the consequences are hitting home. Because it's not just China that's losing chips. American companies are losing billions. NVIDIA, stock down, Intel, bleeding market share, Qualcomm, lost one of its biggest customers, and it gets worse. Pause, dramatic tone. What happens when China stops exporting chips to the US? Pattern interrupt, humorous. Let's put it this way, your next iPhone might run on hope and prayers. Beat, then serious tone. See, China isn't just cutting imports, they're going after global dominance, they're investing in AI chips, they're making deals with South Korea and Japan. They're even looking into Russia as a potential tech ally. So, while the US is tightening restrictions, China is finding loopholes. Which brings us to the real question, is America losing the chip war? The US government knows the stakes. That's why they passed the CHIPS Act, $52 billion to boost domestic semiconductor production. TSMC and Intel are rushing to build new factories in the US. But here's the problem. Building a semiconductor industry takes time. Years, decades even. And China? They've already accelerated ahead. Right now, we're looking at a world split in two: one side powered by American chips, the other by China's rapidly growing alternatives. And as AI becomes the backbone of the global economy, whoever controls the chips controls the future. But let's get real for a second. Is there a way out of this? Can the US and China find a way to coexist in the semiconductor industry? Or are we headed for a full-blown tech Cold War where companies and even countries have to pick a side? And what does this mean for you? Well, if you're in the stock market, you might want to pay attention because semiconductor stocks are about to get wild. If you work in tech, expect big changes. Your next job might depend on which country wins this war. And if you're just someone who loves their gadgets, well, maybe start treating your current phone like it's your last. Because what happens next? Well, let's just say the game is far from over. Who do you think will win this battle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Will China take over the semiconductor world, or will the US fight back and hold its ground? Let's talk. And while you're at it, hit that like button so the algorithm knows